Welcome to Project Procurement Management. In procurement management, what are we doing? We're doing a number of things. We're asking ourselves, what do we need to procure? What do we need to buy to get this project done? And then we ask ourselves, which vendors are going to provide these things for us? How do we choose our vendors? Okay, let's go ahead and have an invitation for negotiation sent out or an RFP sent out. You get those proposals back, you review the proposals, you select vendors, and at the end of the day, you award the contract, and then you begin to control procurements by making sure those people are delivering and making good on their promise. And finally, you close out the procurement. That's really what you do. But how do you do this in a pragmatic fashion? From my experience, I've found out that there's nothing like source selection criteria. That's the big thing when you're choosing any vendor. Source selection criteria. Have a set of criteria that you use to select the vendor. But also ask yourself the question, what happens if the vendor doesn't deliver? What are precaution measures? You want to think about risk management as well. So when you're taking a look at procurement and you're about to select a vendor, always ask yourself, what is the risk involved in selecting this vendor? Can they really deliver? What if they don't deliver? What are we going to do? That's the first stage. And then you go into bidder conferences or negotiations with these customers, or with these vendors rather, in conduct procurements. So let's talk about conduct procurements a little bit more. In conduct procurements, what's really going to help you is getting your RFPs or your RFQs to vendors who are not just able, but are really interested in working with you, people who are really going to deliver for you. After you have those discussions with them and you get proposals back, you want to use that source selection criteria to select a vendor or vendors. After you have selected the vendor and awarded a contract, you go into controlling procurements. And controlling procurements is that regular interaction with those vendors, people performing the work, making sure that they're being paid at the right time, not being sloppy about managing your part of the contract, but being on it. As far as they're concerned, they also have to be on it, delivering everything that you need. That's really what control procurements is all about you doing your part and them doing their part. One of the things we can see in procurement management at the end of it in close procurements is having a procurement audit. Looking at what is going good or what went good and what didn't go so good, and how can we change to make sure that we increase the likelihood of success with the vendor, because you don't want a one-time deal. You want that relationship with a very good vendor. So you're going to take measures to ensure that if you're not managing the contract well, you can do it better. And if they are not managing their part well, you need to inform them and let them do better. Ultimately, from procurement, you're going to have your historical information and lessons learned, and that information is going to help you later on in future projects. So, procurement, very easy to apply. We select vendors every day. I mean, we go into stores every day. That's almost like procurement management. There's a reason why you don't go into some stores daily or even ever. And that's because you got a rotten service, or you just heard you got bad reviews. You got bad reviews from friends who had been there. Same thing with procurement management. Take the reviews very seriously. And that's why you want to, at the end of the project, you want to find out from all of the team members, what is your perception to how this project was managed by this vendor? Could it have been done better? Was the project delayed by the vendor? Or did they actually aid the project in getting the project done quicker? So that is how to apply procurement in a pragmatic way. The big things, source selection criteria. If you are out to select a vendor, have something in mind. Don't just beat about the bush and do an eeny, meeny, miny, mo. You absolutely want to have source selection criteria, because that's going to help you select the best vendor possible or available for you, the one that will meet your needs. After you have used source selection criteria to select the vendor, you want to make sure you do your part by managing that vendor or managing that seller. You want to make sure that they do their part as well, and that has to do with meetings, doing an analysis of where they are, and finally, close out the procurement by making sure everyone is on the same page as far as the success or failure of that particular procurement. And that concludes our look at procurement management.